All right, let's get started. Any quick questions for me at this point in time?
Wait, which one are we going over today?
Circles.
Like the radius?
A circle, yes. The one with the center and the radius. We're ready for that?
Yeah.
Or are we not sure we're ready for that? All right, here we go. So let's talk about circles. So there's going to be two forms of circles. One is going to be your standard form. Which is in the form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. The r is your radius. And then h comma k is your center. Okay? So if I was to write to you this standard form, x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 16, then what I know is my center is where? Negative 2, 3. And my radius is 4. Does that make sense? She's like, I'm just trying to catch up writing, so I'm not even listening to what you're saying. Does it make sense that the center is negative 2, 3? And does it make sense that the radius is 4? You can look at it that way, but you can also look at it as r squared is equal to 16, so I got to take the square root of both sides. Right? And the square root of 16 is 4. Now, because I'm taking the square root, why isn't it plus or minus 4? Because you can't have a negative radius. So it really is plus or minus 4. We're just rejecting the negative because we can't have a negative radius. Right? I don't even know what that circle would look like. Right? Does it like cave into each other itself? So here's the question then. How do I graph this? Right? How do I go about graphing this? We made it. So the way we would graph it is that we will plot the center, just like if we were graphing a line, right? We need a starting point, which is the center. So the center is negative 2, 3. So there's my center. Then the radius is going to tell me how far to go, left, right, up, and down. So I go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I will complete my circle. And there's my circle of a radius of 4 at the center of negative 2, 3. Right? The only reason I'm doing this because you might sit there going, duh, that's how I would do it too. The reason I'm doing it is because a lot of times when we get to it, we get stuck on this and we're not like, how? Yes?
So when you graph, you plot negative 2, 3, and you go.
You always plot the center. And then the radius is how far you go left and right, how far you go up and down. Mm-hmm. So left 4, right 4, up 4, down 4.
So, I know I'm even late, but so you solved, you got your center from x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared.
Correct. So now here, something to remember from our transformation days. Yeah, so long ago, right? So in transformations, we talked about inside the parentheses is what? Opposite, right? X plus 2 is inside the parentheses. Opposite of plus 2 is negative 2, right? Y minus 3 is inside parentheses. Minus 3, opposite of minus 3 is positive 3, right? So that will help us remember that it's opposite. Make sense? And because r squared is equal to 16, we'll have to take the square root of both sides. That's why it's 4. Okay? Pretty easy so far? Yeah.
So you just do opposites of like x plus 2, so that would be your negative 2, and then x plus 3 would be.
Well, x minus 3 opposite x minus 3. Well, y minus 3. Yep.
That's easy.
I know.
Seems more complicated.
No. Nothing I teach is complicated. Until next week. Graphing rational functions. You're going to be learning about vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes. You're going to have to make tables as it approaches 2 from the positive side, approaches 2 from the negative side, all that stuff.
Red and the blues. Red and blue lines. Isn't that what we did last time? I don't know what.
So we just talked about the standard form, right? The standard form gives us all of this stuff here. What's the other form? The other form is probably what you're going to see most of the time. The general form. General form is in this form here. X squared plus y squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. The general form typically gets everything to one side so that I have a 0 side and then a non-zero side. That is the general form. Now, I can easily make this the general form, right? So going from standard form to general form is easy. How would we go about doing that? You FOIL it, or you double distribute it, right? So to make this right here go from standard form to general form is easy because this right here is being raised to the second power. That means I have to write it out twice. This is being raised to the second power, so that means I got to write that out twice. Then I got to double distribute the first. I got to distribute the second, double distribute the second. And then to get to the general form, I got to get everything to one side. So I'm going to have x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y minus 3 equals 0. That is my general form. Does everybody understand where the heck that minus 3 came from? So you added the 4 and the 9 on the left side to get 13, and then you subtracted the 16 over to the left side, which gives you the negative 3. Absolutely.
So you have to do 13 like over minus 16?
Yeah, 13 and then minus the 16 would be negative 3. Because if you add this, it would be 13, and then you subtract the 16 over. Because you got to get everything to one side. Right? Are we okay there? Now here's my question. When we look at this general form, does it tell you what the center is? Does it tell you what the radius is? So you're telling me that it's absolutely useless when I have the general form. Because it just shows me a bunch of nonsense. So really, what we're going to start seeing is that we're going to be given the general form, just like number 6 and 7 on your lab work, and we need to convert it to the standard form. Does that make sense? Because, so this form right here, useless. Doesn't give me center, doesn't give me radius. However, this form here, the standard form, is very useful. Because I can see the center, I can see the radius. True? So the goal is not to go from here to here, but more importantly, go from here to here. Make sense?
How are we supposed to do the general form if we don't have our standard?
We're going to probably be given the general form, and we got to convert it to standard form. Okay? So what we want to be able to do is take a general form and convert it to standard. Whoa. So that's what we want to do. We want to be able to get from this form to this form. Because getting the general form is useless. So really going from standard to general is nonsense. All right? So we're probably not going to go from standard to general form ever. Most likely we're always going to go from general to standard. Okay? So let's take an example. Well, we are. We are actually going to go ahead and go from here to here to here. Or better yet, from here to here to here. That's what we're trying to do. What he said. So let's take an example. They're like, what? What the what? Do I close the box to complete the square? And completed. All right, so let's make an example. I'm going to change these numbers here because what I noticed is that my example was very close to this, so let's just change it altogether. Let's go with x squared plus y squared. I have no idea if this is going to work out or not. Plus 6x minus 14y plus 1 equals 0. I have no idea how this is going to work out. I'm just tossing turd out there. What? So number one, so someone mentioned that we have to do completing the square. So before we even do that, just so you guys understand, here's my first question. Does anybody else know a different way than completing the squares to do this? Because I don't want you guys to, after I grade the lab, we're going, oh, Chan wants it his way. Right? I don't want anybody to have that excuse, so I'm giving you guys a chance to give me a different way of solving this without completing the squares. Nobody? Okay, so I should see the same things in your lab work, right? All right. So first of all, we might want to group the x's together. Group the y's together. Oops. All right? So there was a point in time where we actually did something like this. We were missing a C, and we created a C. So that should be the dead giveaway of, ooh, completing the squares. So the question is, have we ever done completing the squares? All the way back in exam 1. ¿Dónde está usted? Ah, right there. So let me go ahead and copy this for you. Actually, let's do this too. Is he chuckling because I'm talking his language now? So notice what this is saying. Step 1, a has to equal to 1. So if you look at x squared, is the coefficient x squared 1? Yes. Is the coefficient y squared 1? Yes. Step 1, done. What's step 2? Move the OC to the other side. It's right there. Right? So that means that I have to move this 1 over here. And if I move it over, what is it going to be? Correct. I knew you were right. I just wanted to make sure the steps were there. But there. It wasn't there, but it was there. All right? Because that 1 was cheating on the family, that's why 1 got kicked out of the house. It got moved to the other side. And if you get rid of your old C, what do you do next? You got to find yourself a new C, right? All right? So you have to find yourself a new C for the red. And what's the equation for C again? Awesome. What's the matter? We okay? So, so I want to find a new C for the x. I want to find a new C for the y. And do you remember what the step said? It's to find a new C and? And add it to both sides. Okay? So I got to find a new C and add it to both sides. So if I look at the red, what's my B? 6. What is 6 divided by 2? Make sure you do this work. And what's 3 squared? So I have to add it to both sides. That's what it meant. And you're like, oh, that's what it means. Add it to both sides. That's the same side. Dur. Make sense? All right. So what's the b here? Negative 14. What's negative 14 squared? Negative 7. What's negative 7 squared?
49.
So you don't square root.
Why are we square rooting the 49 for? It's b divided by 2 squared. There's no square root to that. So what is the fourth step? Let's read it. You're going to factor the left side, add or subtract the right side. So here, let me do this. So you guys see everything here. So add, subtract the right side. What does this equal to? 57? Everybody got that? Okay? All right. So now I have to factor this and factor this. The reason why I tell you to do the work here is because your factoring will already be done. Ta-da!
So when you say add or subtract the so it means after the equals.
Mm-hmm. So when I get here, what is my center? Negative 3, positive 7. And what's my radius? Is it 57? No. No. Square root of 57. Because r squared is 57. You can't break down square root of 57 because 57 is just 3 times 19. So there's no pairs. Yes? No such thing. Remember we said that everything inside the parentheses is opposite, right? And if you look at the standard form again, it's x minus h. See what I'm saying? So that's why it's opposite. So this would be a x minus a negative 3 and a y minus k, so 7. Cool? Any other questions?
You can't further are there any problems where you can further break down the square root?
Yes. Yes, there will be. Have I ever broken anything down further with square roots in the notes? Yes? So I use factor trees, right? And then because the index is a 2, so we're looking for pairs, and then all the pairs come out, and then everything that doesn't have a pair stays inside the house. Okay? Any other questions? Ladies and gentlemen, notes are done. Questions on the lab work?
Looking over number 1 this morning. I wrote it out.
By the way, she was supposed to look at it Tuesday and Wednesday, not this morning.
But
It's okay. Listen. Huh? Well, if you were a D1 athlete, that would happen. Huh?
There's not even a swimming pool here.
They don't, they have, well, not at this campus, no, but up in Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the Lee campus, but not.
There's plenty of Division I athletes there.
What's wrong with Collier? Why can't we have?
Well, if you were to make it one of those teams, you would have to go to Lee to practice. I mean, it's not like each campus will have their own sports teams. That doesn't work. Because then you have to have like, you have to get into the 50,000 student range in order to have other campus sports teams. Like for example, if you take a look at like Boston College. Boston College doesn't have multiple campus teams, right? And Boston College is Division I, so if they did have remote campuses, those campuses, if those are also four-year colleges, they will probably not be Division I. Well, Rabbit, you would be whole. All right, so let's help you guys with number 1. I'm going to bring out my reading voice. And I'm going to go ahead and read number 1. And when I pause, I want you to write something down. Okay? You guys all ready? You guys ready? The average value of a certain type of automobile was $13,380 in 1993. Automobile was $13,380 in 1993. Everybody wrote something down? All right. Now notice I paused, so you can write something down. And depreciated to $4,740 in 1996. So I'm going to guess that most of you guys did 1993, 13,380, and 1996, 4740. Is that right? We wrote something like that down. Awesome. So you're not far away from what we need to do. Let Y be the average value of the automobile in the year X. Where X equals 0 represents 1993. Where X equals 0 represents 1993. Gee, I wonder what X would be with 1996. So if this is X equals 0, this would be what? Why would it be negative 3? Because the years go backwards? Now, well, if 1996 was 0, then you're right. 1993 would be negative 3. But it's the other way. Make sense? So, okay, I'm standing in 1993. 1994, 1. Okay, so the next line is the key line here. Ready? Write a linear equation. Here, let me translate that for you. Write an equation of a line. No. Just write an equation of a line. That's all I was asking for, right? That is what I just translated. Write a linear equation. So my question is, what are the two things I wrote in your notes that you need in order to write an equation of a line? Look in your notes. Look in your notes. I need a slope and a point. You remember you said order pair. And you say, order what? Do you remember that? You remember that? It is the same thing. You need a point and a slope. Yeah. It means the same thing.
I thought you were saying point and
A slope.
slope are the same thing. I'm like, no, they're not.
No. Remember this right here? What do we need to write an equation of a line? A point and a slope. Let me ask you this. In this problem, how many points do we have?
We've got 2.
Can you name me those points?
1993, 80, 40. 1996 and 4,740.
It says x equals 0. It tells you what x is. 1993? No!
If we would have had like 3 options to get our lab work right, then maybe we would have
So we have 2 points. Oh my goodness. I wonder if we can get a slope. We can. Awesome. Can we get a point? Oh, we got 2 points. Like we got overabundance of points, don't we? Not just that. Can you guys please tell me why this point is so special? What do you mean by the start? Why is it called a y-intercept? Or is it the x-intercept? Wait a minute. Did we actually say something about that? No freaking way! We actually said something about the y-intercept? And if it's a y-intercept, that means the x value is 0? Is the x value 0 on that point? Mm-hmm. So in order for it to be an x-intercept, that means what value will be 0? The y value will be 0. But the y value isn't 0. It's the x value that's 0. That's why we know the point that we were given was the y-intercept. Mm-hmm. So I just have to find the slope, and my line is already written. Uh-huh. Yes, let the Chinaman teach you English. Let the Chinaman teach you English, as we would say. Because we got to replace all the L's with R's, right? Let me show you English. So wrong, but so funny, because it's only true. Why is it funny, or why is it true? That's not the slope formula. Bless you. I mean, salud. Yeah, that's not the slope formula. Slope formula is y2, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right next to your wrist. Nope, your wrist. Oh, now your pinky. Oh. Now your pinky knuckle. Right there. which would be negative.
Wait, I put it in my calculator. Wait. Oopsie.
You should get negative 2880, I believe.
I got a different one this time. Okay, you got that. No, I erased it. I don't know. I'm putting it in right.
Well, remember you're dividing by 3 too, so you should get negative 2880 as your slope.
So y2, is that 13?
Remember, the way I like to do this is to stack them, right? So if you were to stack them, then you won't have to worry about which one's y2, which one's y1. If you stack them, it's all going to work itself out.
I got a positive number. Like, am I entering it wrong?
Well, 13,380 should be 5 digits.
Oh. Okay.
That might be the issue. I know.
Never mind, I got the right.
That's why we always need to look at what we're typing in. Is for that reason right there. That's why they always say like type something in like twice to make sure you get the same answer. If you don't, then check it. Any other questions?
We can't ask on the lab work or no?
You can ask anything on the lab work. Have I ever said no on the lab work?
I know. I want to know what specifically you want to write on the what, like what you know is acceptable for this question. Like, what are you looking for? Like, oh, the formula to find the slope, or
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So
It says to write an equation of a line, right?
yeah,
Okay, so what do I need to know to write an equation of a line?
how to find slope, and then like what the formula is.
To write an equation of that's correct. To write an equation of a line, I need a point and a slope. Since I have 2 points, I can find slope by using the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? Okay. So from there, you could say, because I need a point, you might want to use this point just to do it, but then say something about this one being that since x is equal to 0, that means this must be the y-intercept. Does that make sense? So all of those things should all be in there, right? And if you were to use a second point, you should still get the same thing and going, that makes sense because since x is equal to 0 on the first point, that's already telling me that's a y-intercept. So me putting in the second point just confirms that, yes, that is a y-intercept. Because that's where you're going to find out that 13,380 is the y-intercept. Any other questions? And should I just start teaching in this voice? Yeah. Did you find the center and the radius? So if you find the center and the radius, then you already know how to graph it. So why don't we do that? Let's do this. Oh. Let's go like this. Let's do this as an oil on your own, right? And so it's x squared plus y squared minus 2x minus 12y plus 28 equal to 0. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that on your own. Since it's a question anyways, great. We only did one problem, so now you guys get to do it on your own. What was the first thing we did? Because this will probably help you with what we know, right? What was the first thing we did? We moved the 28 over to the other side and look at the previous problem that we did. What were the two things we did? We moved the c over to the other side, right? What else did we do? with moving the c to the other side? We group the x's together, we group the y's together, move the c to the other side. Is that right? That was the first thing we did. So do that. And you might want to write that down because that will probably be helpful with what we know. Or you can just go back to the video at 40 minutes and 15 seconds to listen to the steps and write it down then. After we grouped the x's together, the y's together, and moved the c to the other side, what's the next thing we did? Find a new c for the x's, find a new c for the y's, and add them to both sides. Awesome. Just return that and get an iPad. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I just wish that there was other apps that you can use. Mm-hmm. Now that spacing thing that you have on there is the only thing I miss from OneNote. Because when I first started, I used OneNote. Because the other one cost money. That was the only thing that I loved about OneNote was the spacing thing. I wish that these would have. Hmm? Well, number 7 does ask to use the graph it, right? Hey, at least you don't have just notebook paper. That'll be harder to graph. -1 squared is 1. Yes. Were you able to graph? But what I'm saying is, Bingo. Right? So if you had a question about it yesterday or this morning, it makes sense, right? But because we went through it, we see that the center is 1/6, and the radius is 3. So we plot. Mm-hmm. See, my problem with on your own is this is what people do. They'll copy it down and they'll just go.
Can't relate. Not all the time, actually.
No, they'll just like not do it because they don't know how to do it. They're not willing to at least try and fail. Or ask me questions. The only way to learn is to fail. Any other questions? Yes, radius is 3. Any other questions?
No, because then we can do. Wait, was this number 7? Then I can do number 6 now.
I know you can.
So wait, next week is going to be really hard. You can tell me. I need to mentally prepare.
It's not funny. So I'm going to tell you what the hardest part is. It's going to be 3.5. 3.5 will be your hardest notes. Because there are 6 steps here. And that's just to plot a rational exponent. So you're going to have graphs that look like this. Okay? And with that, you're going to have to bring back symmetry, which was the even odd functions from exam 2. Oh, look. We're going to have to find x and y intercepts. Then we're going to learn about vertical asymptotes. We're going to learn about horizontal asymptotes. And then we're going to have to plot points, meaning we're going to have to make a table. And then we're going to graph the graph itself. Okay? So that is just one of those notes. 5.5 is actually going to be the easiest notes. Because you guys actually done this before. Except this is going to be based on nonlinear. So now you're going to have to recognize a circle. Right? X is squared, y is squared, adding them is a circle. Versus a parabola. X is squared, y is to the first power, right? This is the reason why I've been talking to you guys through about powers. Like what's in the equation, what power are they, what shape they are, right? So that's why I've been talking to you guys through it. So what is this? A diagonal line. So that means I got to get y by itself so I know the slope and the y-intercept, right? So this is the easiest part of the notes. And then 3.1, quadratic functions, just talk about parabolas. I would tell you to delay the celebration of your birthday till spring break. No, you're going to be even working even more during spring break. So if you have no more questions, ladies and gentlemen, please have a wonderful, blessed weekend. Please be safe. Love you guys. See you guys next week for these amazing lessons.